Last summer, I had a terrifying experience on my way home from work. At that time, I didn't have a driver's license and had to diligently bike to and from my job every day. Though young, the late-night work shifts at the bustling restaurant where I worked were exhausting. Every day after work, I'd head straight home. On my route, just a few minutes from my workplace, there was an underpass known in the area for its eerie ghost stories. It was a long underpass, and because it was at a bend, you couldn't see the other end from the entrance. This place was prone to poor visibility accidents, which I think contributed to its many horrifying rumors. I'm not someone sensitive to paranormal activities, so I wasn't too scared and didn't pay much attention to it, passing through it daily on my way home. One day I finished work much later than usual. As I prepared to leave, I found both the front and rear tires of my bike had been punctured. This frustrated and inconvenienced me, but since it was an expensive bike, I was concerned about further vandalism and decided to walk it home. As I walked, I was already exhausted from the day and thought how unlucky it was to encounter such a problem. That's when I noticed the air around me gradually getting colder. I had reached the entrance of the underpass. I didn't think much of it and entered the underpass with my bike. Only then did I realize walking felt different from biking. The underpass seemed much longer. This made me a bit uneasy. However, not long after entering, I saw a woman cycling toward me. Seeing someone else there at such a late hour provided a bit of comfort. But as she passed by, she seemed startled by the sight of me with my bike and wore a look of surprise. Although I felt slightly offended, I continued on. I wondered just how far the exit was. And right then, I heard a loud screeching of brakes followed by a massive collision. The noise, seemingly coming from behind me, scared me immensely, and I broke out in cold sweat. Worried that the woman might have been hit, I left my bike and hurried back the way I had come. Upon reaching the bend, I saw the entrance where I had come in, but it was empty. There were no vehicles or the woman who had just passed me. Nothing at all. Confused and bewildered in the desolate underpass, I tried to convince myself it was just my fatigue causing hallucinations. So I returned to fetch my bike, thinking about the loud crash and the woman. She had just brushed past me, yet she had left so quickly. As I walked and fear started to creep in, I hastened my pace towards the exit. But just as I was about to leave the underpass and step onto the broader street, I felt something tug at my hair with a strong force, pulling me back a few steps. At the same time, I smelled a pungent, damp odor from behind my head. Too frightened to look back, I quickly continued forward and left the underpass. I safely made it home afterward, but as I reflected on the incident calmly, I still felt terrified. Since that day, I've avoided the underpass and taken a longer route home. Although I've quit that job and no longer need to pass by the underpass, whenever I drive near that area, I still remember the horrifying experience of that night.